first commandment says, honor thy father.
No, it doesn't.
Toby,
it doesn't.
listen to...
No, if I'm going to make you sit through this preposterous exercise, we're going to get the names of the damn commandments right.
Okay, here we go.
Honor thy father is the third commandment.
Then what's the first commandment?
I am the Lord your God. Thou shalt worship no other God before me. Boy, those were the days, huh?
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Al, what do we got here, CJ?
Well, we've got some hot tempers, Mr. President.
Mary.
Mr. President, I'm John Van Dyke.
Yes. Reverend?
May I ask you a question, sir?
Of course.
If our children can buy pornography on any street corner for $5, isn't that too high a price to pay for free speech?
No.
Really?
On the other hand, I do think that $5 is too high a price to pay for pornography.
Why don't we all sit down?
No, let's not, CJ. These people won't be staying that long. May I have some coffee, Mr. Lewis? Al, how many times have I asked you to denounce the practices of a fringe group that calls itself the Lambs of God?
Oh, sir, that's not up to me.
Crap, it is up to you, Al. You know, my wife, Abby, she never wants me to do anything while I'm upset. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. 28 years ago, I came home from a very bad day at the State House. I tell Abby I'm going out for a drive. I get in the station wagon, put it in reverse, and pull out of the garage full speed. Except I forgot to open the garage door. Abby told me not to drive while I was upset, and she was right. She was right yesterday when she told me not to get on that damn bicycle while I was upset, but I did it anyway. And I guess I was just about as angry as I've ever been in my life. Seems my granddaughter Annie had given an interview in one of those teen magazines, and somewhere between movie stars and makeup tips, she talked about her feelings on a woman's right to choose. Now, Annie, all of 12, has always been precocious, but she's got a good head on her shoulders, and I like it when she uses it, so I couldn't understand it when her mother called me in tears yesterday. I said, Elizabeth, what's wrong? She said, it's Annie. Now, I love my family, and I've read my Bible from cover to cover, so I want you to tell me, from what part of Holy Scripture do you suppose the Lambs of God drew their divine inspiration when they sent my 12-year-old granddaughter a Raggedy Ann doll with a knife stuck through its throat? You'll denounce these people, Al. You'll do it publicly. And until you do, you can all get your fat asses out of my White House. CJ, show these people out.
I believe we can find the door.
Find it now.
We'll fix this, Leo.
See that you do.
Okay, can I just say that as it turned out, I was the calmest person in the room?
Way to stay cool.
I am not empowered to auction off the Bill of Rights.
I thought you were going to take a swing at her there,
She's
Vanna.
calling us New York Jews, Josh.
Yeah, but being from Connecticut, I didn't mind so much. You, CJ, on the other hand, you were brilliant. I particularly liked the part where you said nothing at all.
I'm sorry, Josh. I was distracted. All I could really think about was Lloyd Russell and your girlfriend.
Randy and Lloyd Russell will
Yeah.
be putting an end to that.
Hello, Mr. President. Did you have a nice trip, sir? How's the ankle, sir? Seems to me we've all been taking a little break. Thinking about our personal lives or thinking about keeping our jobs. Breaks are good. It's not a bad idea to take a break every now and then. I know how hard you all work. There was this time that Annie came to me with this press clipping. Seems these theologians down in South America were all excited because this little girl from Chile had sliced open a tomato, and the inside flesh of the tomato had actually formed a perfect rosary. The theologians commented that they thought this was a very impressive girl. Annie commented that she thought it was a very impressive tomato. Don't know what made me think of that. Naval intelligence reports approximately 1,200 Cubans left Havana this morning. Approximately 700 turned back due to severe weather. Some 350 are missing and presumed dead. 137 have been taken into custody in Miami and are seeking asylum. With the clothes on their back, they came through a storm. And the ones that didn't die want a better life, and they want it here. Talk about impressive. My point is this: break's over.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Retaliatory strike scenarios.
When are they operational?
At the President's command.
No prep time.
We're there.
All three scenarios are comprehensive, meet the obligations of proportional response, and pose minimum risk to American personnel and assets. Scenario 1, or Pericles 1, to use its code name, sir.
What is the virtue of a proportional response?
I'm sorry?
What is the virtue of a proportional response? Why is it good? They hit an airplane, so we hit a transmitter, right? That's a proportional response.
Sir, in the case of Pericles 1...
They hit a barracks, we hit 2 transmitters.
That's roughly it, yes, sir.
This is what we do. I mean, this is what we do.
Yes, sir. It's what we do. It's what we've always done.
Well, if it's what we do, if it's what we've always done, don't they know we're going to do it?
Sir, if you turn your attention to Pericles 1.
I have turned my attention to Pericles 1. It's 2 ammo dumps, an abandoned railroad bridge, and a Syrian intelligence agency.
Those are 4 highly rated targets, sir.
But they know we're going to do that. They know we're going to do that. Those areas have been abandoned for 3 days now. We know that from the satellite, right? We have the intelligence.
Sir.
They did that, so we did this. It's the cost of doing business. It's been factored in, right?
Mr. President.
Am I right, or am I missing something here?
No, sir, you're right, sir.
Then I ask again, what is the virtue of a proportional response?
It isn't virtuous, Mr. President. It's all there is, sir.
It is not all there is.
Sir, Admiral Fitzwallace.
Excuse me, Leo. Pardon me, Mr. President. Just what else is there?
The disproportional response. Let the word ring forth from this time and this place, gentlemen. You kill an American, any American, we don't come back with a proportional response. We come back with total disaster.
Mr. President, are you suggesting we carpet bomb Damascus?
I am suggesting, General, that you and Admiral Fitzwallace and Secretary Hutchison and the rest of the national security team take the next 60 minutes and put together an American response scenario that doesn't make me think we are just docking somebody's damn allowance. Keep your seats. There's a delegation of cardiologists having their pictures taken in the Blue Room. You wouldn't think you could find a group of people more arrogant than the 15 of us, but there they are, right upstairs in the Blue Room. You called me?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, we put together a scenario by which we attack Hassan Airport. It's 3 main terminals and 2 runways. In addition to the civilian casualties, which could register in the thousands, the strike would temporarily cripple the region's ability to receive medical supplies and bottled water. Now, I think Mr. Cashman and Secretary Hutchinson would each tell you what I'm sure you already know, sir, that this strike would be seen both at home and abroad as a staggering overreaction by a first-time commander-in-chief. That without the support of our allies, without a Western coalition, without Great Britain and Japan, and without Congress, you'll have doled out $5,000 worth of punishment for a $50 crime, sir. Mr. President, a proportional response doesn't empty the options box for the future the way an all-out assault would.
Thank you. Does anyone have a cigarette? This other plan.
Pericles 1, sir.
Pericles 1, yes. No civilian casualties?
We can't promise that, sir.
But you're as certain as you can be.
Yes, sir.
And what are the military implications?
We'll cripple both their intelligence network and their surface-to-air strike capability.
Very well. How does this work?
You give me the go order, sir. Mr. President.
I'm the leader of a democracy, Tom. 71% of the people support capital punishment. People have spoken. The courts have spoken.
Did you call the Pope?
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
Oh, for crying out loud, Tom. I open my mouth and say, somebody get me the Pope.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but I was thinking... You're just this kid from my parish, and now you're calling the Pope.
Anyway, I looked for a way out. I really did.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You know what that means? God is the only one who gets to kill people.
I know.
That was your way out.
I know.
Did you pray?
I did, Tom. I know it's hard to believe, but I prayed for wisdom.
And none came.
It never has. And I'm a little pissed off about that. I'm not kidding.
You know, you remind me of the man that lived by the river. He heard a radio report that the river was going to rush up and flood the town, and that all the residents should evacuate their homes. But the man said, I'm religious, I pray. God loves me, God will save me. The waters rose up. A guy in a rowboat came along and he shouted, hey, you in there, the town is flooding. Let me take you to safety. But the man shouted back, I'm religious, I pray, God loves me, God will save me. A helicopter was hovering overhead, and a guy with a megaphone shouted, hey, you down there, the town is flooding. Let me drop this ladder and I'll take you to safety. But the man shouted back that he was religious, that he prayed, that God loved him, and that God would take him to safety. Well, the man drowned. And standing at the gates of St. Peter, he demanded an audience with God. Lord, he said, I'm a religious man. I pray. I thought you loved me. Why did this happen? God said, I sent you a radio report, a helicopter, and a guy in a rowboat. What the hell are you doing here? He sent you a priest, a rabbi, and a Quaker, Mr. President, not to mention his son, Jesus Christ. What do you want from him?
Excuse me.
Jed, would you like me to hear your confession?
I don't want to belabor the point, though. I do think that this is understandable. I feel a little self-conscious coming down the mountain on drugs 2 months after I announced I was a recovering drug addict. What do you think?
About what?
What I just said.
Well, I wasn't listening to a lot of it.
Sorry.
Leo, if there's anyone qualified to talk about the benefits of treatment versus criminal action, it's you. Is there anyone whose life would be better right now if you'd gone to jail instead of rehab?
No.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Apparently there is.
Mr. President.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I heard Leo was here. I assumed you were awake.
I am.
I hadn't seen you all day. I just wanted to apologize for the gaffe at the briefing last night.
You fixed it this afternoon, right?
Yeah.
And let's move on.
I do apologize, sir.
No need to apologize, but I accept your apology, and now I'm ready, if not eager, to move on.
Mr. President,
How you doing?
you were sleeping?
Not for a little while now.
Well, can I say this is great, Mr. President, because usually you have a hard time getting to sleep before 1 or 2.
Not tonight.
That's gotta feel good, sir.
Guys, let me tell you what I would like to have happen right now.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Josh walking in the door wasn't even close.
How you doing tonight?
I'm fine, thanks, Josh. How you doing?
Good. I gave Joey Lucas a coffee mug. She doesn't know anybody here, and she's already working hard. She's very committed. I think I did the right thing.
See, the part I don't understand is I got like 24 armed guards right outside my bedroom door.
Mr. President, after a day of meetings, are you any closer to a decision on drugs?
I'm a day closer. There'll be more meetings tomorrow. In the meantime, everybody calm down. Leo's got your engines fired like you're running Daytona. That's fine. Keep them there. Guess what? Mistakes are going to be made. Minimize them. Fix them. Move on. Kiefer's numbers got you scared? Listen to me. I have never lost an election in my life. We do this right, and people are going to respond. You all had a good day.
We should go live, you know.
Now, you guys should feel free to do this when my wife is here.
Sir, something has come up, and frankly, it's got me as hot as a piston. Apparently. We can talk about this tomorrow.
Everybody, Mandy was doing her job. It's time to let her out of the doghouse.
That's me.
She was doing her job. CJ,
Yes, sir.
so was Danny.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. President.
Good night, sir.
Mr. President,
We were almost done.
I met with Congresswoman Wyatt today.
When you were married to her, did you call her Congresswoman Wyatt?
No, sir?
Sometimes I call my wife Dr. Bartlet.
No, I call her Andy. Or, Andrea.
Okay.
Mandatory minimums.
You're whooped, my friend.
Sir?
No. She's been talking to you for a year about mandatory minimums. You've been saying no, but it looks like we know who wears the pants in the Ziegler family.
You call your wife Dr. Bartlett.
Just for the turn on.
The thing is, she's right.
Andy.
Mandatory minimums are considerably higher for crack than for powder cocaine.
Yes.
The vast majority of crack users are black. The vast majority of drug users are white. The mandatory minimums are racist.
Yes, they are.
Should be part of the discussion.
And it will be.
Good. Good night.
Good night. Good night. I'm sleeping better. And when I sleep, I dream about a great discussion with experts and ideas and diction and energy and honesty. And when I wake up, I think, I can sell that.
Good night, Mr. President.
Good night. Is the pilot still alive?
He had an ACES 200 ejector seat on board.
NATO command in Brussels says the Aegis systems on the North Dakota picked up a tracking signal in the Foul Peninsula, south of Basra.
He's in the middle of nowhere.
Who else is out there?
The 4th Corps of the Iraqi RG would patrol the area.
Somebody's within 10 miles of the pilot.
Our guy is 10 miles from the 4th Corps of the Iraqi Republican Guard.
It's a matter of who gets there first.
Fitz, you got a rescue scenario?
Yeah, the 16th Special Operations Group out of Hurlburt Field.
They use the Pave Hawks.
And the MH-53J.
These are specially equipped helicopters. They fly treetop altitude at about 180 knots.
Mr. President, can I suggest that rather than jumping into a military rescue plan,
please.
that a phone call to Iraqi ambassador...
Phil, you want to check with the embassy?
I'm saying, Leo, that 3 hours spent on diplomatic solutions...
I'll tell you what, Phil. How about I drop you and your $47 million American warplane that's already been picked up by Iraqi radar in the middle of a desert? Then you tell me if we've got 3 hours to find a diplomatic solution before we come get you.
What's his name?
I'm sorry, sir?
The pilot, what's his name?
Captain Scott Hotchkiss,
Where's he from?
Rhode Island,
How old is he?
26.
Rob told me in my intelligence briefing last week that the Iraqi government's put out a bounty, the equivalent of $14,000 US, for any American plane shot down or any American soldier captured. Now, he was just patrolling the no-fly zone, right?
Yes, sir.
He had not engaged.
No, sir.
Phil, if it ends up Fitzwallace has to call this kid's parents, I swear to God, I'm invading Baghdad. Get him back.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. A U.S. Air Force F-117A Nighthawk stealth fighter attack aircraft flying a routine patrol out of Al Jaber Air Force Base in Kuwait was shot down over the southern no-fly zone in Iraq. At this point, we don't know the condition of the pilot. We do know the plane carries an ACES 200 ejector seat and that it was activated. General Richmond and General Clancy will talk more about that in a moment.
CJ!
Danny!
Is there a rescue mission underway?
Obviously, there are a number of scenarios being contemplated, but I wouldn't want to speculate. We have been in touch with the Iraqi government, and the president is looking for a diplomatic solution.
There have been no military moves.
No. CJ! Chris.
Charlie? Sir. Mr. President?
Fitz, do you have any news at all?
Actually, I think I'm going to have something in just a minute. They'll put the call through here.
Okay.
You mind if I wait with you, sir?
No.
How you feeling?
I feel fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel fine.
The eagle on the seal in the carpet. In one talon, he's holding arrows, and in the other, an olive branch. Most of the time, the eagle is facing the olive branch, but when Congress declares war, the eagle faces the arrows. How did he do that? Do you think they've got a second carpet sitting around in the basement someplace?
I don't know.
Maybe this piece in the middle cuts out and they do it like a basketball court.
I honestly don't know, Fitz.
Excuse me, Chairman. That's your call, the blinking light.
Thank you. I'll stop bugging you in just a minute, Mr. President. Yeah. Thanks. Mr. President, I have Captain Scott Hotchkiss on the phone. He's cleared Iraqi airspace, and he's on his way to Tel Aviv.
Fitz.
Congratulations, sir.
The kid's all right?
He's got a sprained ankle.
Well, that's a job awfully well done, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I owe you one.
No, that's not how it works.
All the same, I'm going to check out that thing with the carpet.
Talk to the pilot.
Seriously, I'm going to get an answer for you on that. Captain Hotchkiss, this is President Bartlet. How's your ankle? Good. Before you say another word, give me your parents' phone number. I never get to make this call.
You should fix your tie.
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree more, Cal. As long as these people are funding their public school districts with property taxes, neither the value of the schools nor the value of their property is going to go up. It's a vicious circle. It's terrible, and it has to be stopped.
So we're going to do something about it?
I wouldn't go that far. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
It's a vicious circle, Leo.
Yeah.
Never stops.
Sir?
Just goes round and round.
Look.
Round and round.
Let's go see him.
Now?
He's waiting for us.
We really need to see him now.
What better time?
Well, later.
Let's go.
5 White House consuls in 2.5 years. Corcoran, Gates, Solomon, Tribby. Why can't I keep a head lawyer around here?
Because they all show up thinking they're going to be a counselor to the president, and you never let them in.
I don't like new people.
Oliver Babish isn't a new person. You know each other. Your kids know each other. You built hospitals together. He was Midwest finance chairman on the campaign.
Never played chess, though, have we?
No.
See?
You're scared of Babish.
Oh, like you're not.
No, because we are both men of Chicago.
What is it with people from Chicago that they're so happy to have been born there? I meet so many people who can't wait to tell me they're from Chicago, and when I meet them, they're living anywhere but Chicago.
You wouldn't understand.
He looks down his nose at me because I'm not a lawyer.
Yes.
I didn't go to law school. I got a PhD in economics instead.
Your parents were very proud.
Yeah, and all that happened was I won a Nobel Prize and got elected president. So I guess that decision didn't really pay off.
Yeah.
Should I run back and get my Nobel Prize?
I think he knows you've got one.
Guy's been here 3 months. He's got a nicer office than I do.
He's got a nicer office than I do.
That matters less to me.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Hey, Oliver.
Come on in.
Hey, what are the bags for?
I was just heading out on vacation.
Oh. Oh, gosh. Oliver, this can keep.
Mr. President.
Man's bags are packed. Where are you going?
Sarawak.
Asia's best kept secret.
Sir, is this something you'd like to,
It's really not even. I don't want you to worry that much about it.
Sir.
I'm easing in.
Okay.
Well, Oliver, it really boils down to this. I'm going to tell you a story, and then I need you to tell me whether or not I've engaged 16 people in a massive criminal conspiracy to defraud the public in order to win a presidential election.
Quiz me.
I don't think I will.
Quiz me.
You're a lively conversationalist. You won't have any problem getting...
Quiz me.
Who are you sitting next to?
Dr. Carrie B. Mullis, recipient of the 1993 Nobel Prize for Chemistry, born 1944 in North Carolina. He earned his bachelor's degree from Georgia Tech and his PhD in biochemistry from my alma mater, UC Berkeley.
If all he wants to talk about is where he's from, where he went to school, and what his name is, you'll be fine.
CJ?
It's here?
Yeah.
I'll meet you over there.
Toby.
It's here.
Yeah, I know. Listen, the social office called.
And?
7 Republicans who RSVP'd for the dinner aren't going to show up.
We knew that might happen.
Well, it happened. Do you think we should...
What, put it off?
Yeah.
No.
I'm saying.
The president said he was going to veto the bill. CJ announced he was going to veto the bill. He's going to veto the bill.
There was a reason they had to cancel.
There's an emergency meeting of the Republican leadership.
What do you think they're going to be talking about?
I think they're planning a surprise party.
They could have left after the entree.
Yeah.
They're going to miss hot pumpkin soup with cheese gnocchi and a chèvre brioche.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big price to pay just to override my veto.
Maybe they think they've got the votes.
What are you saying?
Maybe something shifted in the last couple of hours.
Leo.
They just sent the bill up 5 minutes ago. They know you're going to veto. Why schedule an override vote right now?
So I'd think twice about vetoing.
Well, that's what I thought, too.
And now?
Good evening, Mr. President.
Where is this thing?
It's on its way.
You know what we're starting with tonight?
No, sir.
Hot pumpkin soup with a cheese gnocchi and a chèvre brioche.
Was anything you just said food?
Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening, sir.
It's on its way.
Sir, the social office...
We know.
7 Republicans who RSVP'd for the dinner.
We know.
You know that there's an emergency meeting of the Republican leadership.
Yeah.
I say they could have waited until after the entree.
Maybe they didn't know about the chèvre brioche.
Does anyone want to consider waiting?
No.
The Constitution gives them 10 days.
I'm familiar with it.
So why don't we...
Because if it's a show of strength and resolve, you don't wait to think about it.
And if they override the veto, it's neither strong nor resolute.
They don't have the votes to override.
Says you.
Says me, Josh, the office of political liaison, legislative liaison, and the minority whip.
Sometimes it's like I don't even need to be here.
Good evening, Mr. President.
CJ, you look very nice.
Thank you, sir. Is it here?
It's on its way.
I've been seated next to a chemist tonight.
Mullis?
23 Nobel Prize winners in the East Room. I couldn't get literature or, I don't know, peace or something?
What's her problem?
She thinks she won't be able to make conversation with the guy, but she's wrong because she knows what year he was born and his name.
You gotta be a cryptographer. They speak in combinations of letters that don't spell anything but end up meaning table salt.
Mr. President?
Is it here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey,
Good evening, Mr. President.
what's your name?
I'm Donald Dolan from the Office of the Executive Clerk, sir.
Leo, I don't think it's a bluff. I don't think the congressional leadership holds their members back on a weekend for a bluff.
I don't think they're bluffing, Sam.
Do you think they're holding an override vote tonight?
I'm sure of it.
Why would they hold a vote if they didn't think they could override?
They wouldn't. What do you got in the box, Mr. Dolan?
Mr. President, I have House Resolution 10, the Death Tax Elimination Act. It bears the signatures of both the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, and it's presented to you by the Congress of the United States for your signature or veto.
Excuse me. Leo, you think we lost some votes we don't know about?
I think we're about to find out.
Sir, if the House successfully overrides the veto, we're gonna look weak.
If the House successfully overrides the veto, we are weak. NaCl, CJ.
I'm sorry, sir?
Table salt.
A lab in the UK is going to let us know in 72 hours if the first U.S. case of mad cow is in Nebraska right now. We got a presumptive positive on,
72 hours?
Yeah.
We should keep it to ourselves.
That's what I think. CJ disagrees, and the president wants to hear more.
Okay.
Thanks.
So paint a picture for me, would you?
We find the source of the problem, which will be the feed. We buy the cattle and slaughter them.
How many?
Tens of thousands.
That's the live cattle. What about the beef?
Well, FSIS will do a Class 1 recall and get it off the shelves. Not that they need to. Nobody's going to buy beef for a couple of years.
It's a $150 billion industry. What's the West going to do for a living?
Well, this generation of ranchers is done. They won't get back on their feet.
People have known about this disease. They're still eating beef in record numbers.
That's because it's been on the other side of the ocean. Once we announce a positive, steakhouses are done. Fast food is done.
And then the corn and soybean growers, right?
The dominoes don't end on this.
Any good news?
For fishermen.
So we've got frightened parents, rising food prices, public panic, massive layoffs, and something we've never worried about before. We're wondering when the next case is going to happen. You really want to talk about the lawsuit in Colorado?
Yes, sir.
You hear about the lawyer who opened a chain of dry cleaners? Press your lawsuit while you wait. There was a better joke in there someplace, right?
Probably not. Sir?
Doctrine of sovereign immunity. You can't sue the king. We brought it over from England.
Yeah, but he's not immune from the court of public opinion.
Forgot to bring that one over.
The RNC will have a press conference?
The RNC has a press conference when I sneeze.
I think we need to come out for a strong national seatbelt law.
Congress won't pass it.
I'm not saying we need to have the law. I'm just saying we need to come out for it. It'll end the question of where you stand.
People know where I stand. If they don't know, they can ask me.
You were governor of New Hampshire, sir.
And I was for it then. Never did anything about it because nobody wanted it. And frankly, why waste time and capital?
CJ will get asked about it at the 5 o'clock briefing.
I can't be responsible every time somebody irrationally twists my meaning. People are responsible for themselves. Today's cars are safer than they've ever been. They've all got airbags, they've all got seat belts, and they're all crash tested from here to Tuesday. All that's left is personal behavior and bad luck, and I'm not responsible for either one. And Sam, if Mrs. Lanningham was here right now, she'd say the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I don't blame this woman for suing me. I'm not a king, and I'm not sure the law should treat me like one, though certainly for the moment I don't mind. I'm not blaming her. She's got to go someplace with her grief and her anger. The ones who should be horsewhipped with a horsewhip are the ones exploiting her grief for political gain, and I'm not getting down with those guys.
Yes, sir.
Let Congress pass that law. I'll sign it.
Sir.
Yeah, let's go. Get Leo.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Isn't there a joke to be had with lawsuits and dry cleaners? I've been working on it all day.
You've been working on other stuff, though, too, right?
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay, what do we think? When do you tell the public what you know?
I think it's right now.
And I think it's when you know something. I think absolute confirmation has to be the rule when we're talking about public panic.
Are we sure there's going to be public panic if we're only saying there's a chance? We think maybe, usually it's negative.
I do. Because we're not talking about sushi, it's hamburgers. And I'm not kidding around. It's these things, the everyday things, the everyday American things, the 99-cent things, that when you suddenly have to be afraid of them, strike at the center of our equilibrium.
I'll tell you what else. Democrats, not exactly loved by the beef industry to begin with, are going to get killed for causing false panic.
Yeah, what we say now is going to be measured against the facts, the consequences of which will be far worse if we don't say anything and it goes the other way.
I disagree.
Then pretend for a moment the cow has MS.
No, I don't think I will.
Something going on with them?
I think they can hear you. They're standing right in front of you.
That was a bad analogy. I apologize. What I meant was that the public will not forgive a president who withheld information that could have helped them or saved lives. Second, in a crisis, people need to feel like soldiers, not victims. Third, information breeds confidence. Silence breeds fear. That's my argument.
If it comes from the president.
Shouldn't come from the president.
They shouldn't even come from the White House.
It should come from Health and Human Services.
Not the secretary, mid-level.
All right, that's what we'll do then.
Good morning.
Leo, he can't take any calls right now. It's the president.
Good morning, sir.
Listen, I don't care that much about your ass, but if you need to perjure yourself to protect me, you're gonna damn well do it.
Sir, this isn't a secure call. So I'm going to say to the 17 global intelligence agencies that are listening in that he was kidding just then.
Whatever it is Josh does, you're gonna let him do it.
I don't need Josh to...
Yeah. How does she look to you?
Who?
Her.
She looks good.
What's she wearing?
What are you wearing?
What does it matter?
Why don't you ask the president that?
Gray Armani suit.
Spandex.
I like you and her. It's like a 50s screwball comedy.
You're like a 50 screwball.
What was that?
Nothing. We should do gifts and charitable donations tomorrow night.
I'm not doing anything tomorrow night.
What's tomorrow night?
It's Christmas Eve.
I've forgotten. You don't work then, right?
Yeah, actually, nobody does.
All right, the governor is going to be there at noon, but I'll be talking to you before then.
You got about 1,000 people in this building standing with you right now.
I'll be back when I'm done.
Okay.
Leo, what's going on?
Will the first witness rise, raise your right hand to God, and swear the oath that's written in front of you?
Leo.
Ain't nothing but a family thing. I solemnly swear that the testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Speaking of crusty New England relics.
Governor, does it frustrate you to constantly aim for humor and yet miss so dramatically?
Nah. Abby wants to eat at Patsy's tonight. Would you let him know we're coming?
Yes, sir.
What's next?
That's all for the schedule, but Leo McGarry is here and would like a minute.
Leo's here?
Mm-hmm.
Leo!
I'm happy to get him myself, as they do in the civilized world.
Yeah. Hey!
Hey, Governor. New Hampshire. It's what's new.
Jenny and Mallory are okay?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I don't know. What do you got? You got leaves. I came to look at the leaves.
What are you doing?
I came to talk to you.
Everything's okay?
Yeah.
Why didn't you call?
Because you would ask me what I wanted to talk to you about.
Where are you staying?
At the Marriott.
What do you want to talk to me about?
I've been thinking about getting back into politics.
Well, I think that's great, man. I think it's about time. You probably mean the House, but I think you should consider the Senate seat in Illinois in 2 years. I can help raise money.
No, I wasn't thinking about the Senate. I was thinking about the White House.
Hey, Leo, I swear to God, there's no one I'd rather see in the Oval Office than you, but if you run, there's going to be a lot of discussion about Valium and alcohol. I mean, it's going to come out. This is the world.
Yeah. See, I wasn't thinking about me.
Who?
I've been walking around in a kind of daze for 2 weeks. And everywhere I go, planes, trains, restaurants, meetings, I find myself scribbling something down.
What?
You never mentioned his health?
No.
Not during the first meeting in his office?
No.
Nor during the second meeting at the Marriott?
No.
Well, then I'd like to ask you this. If he had told you about his condition, would you still have thought it was a good idea that he run?
I don't know.
Well, think about it and try answering.
Listen, I'm gonna talk a little, and you nod and talk a little bit back to me.
What are you doing?
That's good.
I'm really asking you.
I think Rathburn's being a little snotty. I think he's gonna have to wait, and I think he's gonna have to wait with the camera on me.
Mr. McGarry.
1 second, please. Listen, what are you doing for lunch?
I don't know.
Because I thought maybe we could have lunch or something.
Leo, you've got to answer the question.
It was the rebate.
It wasn't a rebate. It was an advance.
You say potato.
I do say potato, and so does everybody else I know.
We wanted to inject some money into retail and tourism.
Why not wait until people were supposed to have the money?
The economy might have improved on its own by then.
In which case, the whole thing would have been pointless in the first place.
Yeah.
Economists just make it up as they go along, don't they?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Not that much. Most people did what you did. They saved or they paid down debt.
We don't want people to save and reduce their personal debt?
We do, but when the next guy's president.
You win.
I always do.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what I find interesting, though.
What's that, sir?
You, $35,000 a year, a sister to support, and you gave $1,435 to charity? I'm not so sure that check isn't better off in your hands than ours. Oh, I'm taking it. Don't be ridiculous. When you get to your place tonight, you're going to find a new DVD player and that wimp-ass Bond movie.
Mr. President.
And I threw in Yeoman of the Guard on CD.
That was an incredibly nice gesture.
I'm really something.
Mr. President.
Hey, John.
Can we have a minute, please, sir?
Yeah. Charlie, let's get that woman on the phone. I'm feeling magical tonight. They're in the tunnel now, and the readings don't show anything beyond the predictable level of background radiation. The flatbed's back on its way, and the Carlsbad is behind gates. So we dodged the bullet.
Yeah.
We packed this stuff in 2 inches of stainless steel, 4 inches of lead. We rammed it with trains and dropped it from helicopters, and it still isn't going to protect us from the thing we haven't thought of. They took a cast out to Aberdeen Proving Ground and shot a tow missile clean through it. They showed me video. What can I do for you?
Sir, there's something very important we need to talk to you about.
What?
Well, it's delicate and surprising, and I want to make sure your first reaction is measured, so I'd like us to...
I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody left who's not?
Sir.
For how long?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been in recovery?
My last drink, it was the year I was 22.
Did you say 22?
Yes, sir.
You haven't had a drink since you were 22?
That's right.
I didn't start drinking till I was 25. What the hell do you guys count as?
I know, but there's a history in my family, and I had a few experiences in college. I liked beer a lot, so I started going to meetings, and I'm pretty sure if I stopped...
22?
Yes, sir.
You and James Bond ought to team up.
I don't...
Don't worry about it.
He's ordering a watered-down martini. And Leo, what the hell is this meeting that's going on all night across the hall?
We can talk about it later. It's a meeting about having me replaced on the ticket. I know how to count to 270.
John, I assure you that if it were a serious notion, we would have...
Texas is gone, so is Florida.
We're not doing it.
You should think about it.
Hey, did I hear right? Are you taking your name off that bill?
Nobody benefits from the internet right now more than the rural poor.
You're taking your name off. We can't campaign on it.
Yes, sir.
And if somebody's attacking us, you know what to do.
I call Leo.
Yeah, but don't discount the possibility that it might be Leo.
Yes, sir.
John, despite this recent revelation that you drank beer in college, I've always liked you a little more than you thought I did. But that's not why you're staying. It's this. 4 words.
I've always liked you more than you thought I did, too, Mr. President.
Just a little, right?
Yes, sir.
Me too. Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Go get him, sir.
Josh.
It's late.
How much?
Just buzz. They know there's a restatement of foreign objectives. They know the committee chairman having been consulted. They know it changed a lot overnight.
Well, their curiosity will be slaked in about 41 minutes. Listen.
Yes, sir.
I have a problem.
Well, you're about to propose the most massive shift in foreign policy since the Marshall Plan, and it's going to be wildly unpopular.
All right, two problems.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a Bible.
What do you mean?
I kept changing my mind all week on which Bible I wanted to use, and then I finally settled on the George Washington Bible, but we ran into a problem with the New York Freemasons, which we don't have time to get into.
The Freemasons?
Yeah. Charlie's out hunting one down, but he's not back yet.
You know, there's nothing that says you have to be sworn in on a Bible.
Is that true?
You can be sworn in on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
You think that's a good idea?
No.
You sure?
I'll find Charlie.
Thanks.
We're right next to you, sir. Knock them all down.
Thank you, sir.
Nice suit.
Hey, Leo, can you tell me anything about what happened to Jack Reese?
The president asked him to get a force depletion report under the radar.
On Kunda?
Yeah.
And someone found out.
Hutchinson. It was my fault. Which doesn't excuse...
I don't excuse it.
I don't know how she could do that. I really don't. I mean, I don't want to talk about it now, but do you suppose her timing could have been any worse?
I told her all that in no uncertain terms.
I'll be telling it to her, too.
She knows.
Good.
She's not here. Can't find her. I don't think she's coming. I'll find out where Charlie is.
Leo.
Yes, sir.
I know you've been underground all night, but there's a rumor that the president's contemplating a new doctrine for the use of force.
The president's nothing if not contemplative, Senator. The man makes the Prince of Denmark seem reactionary.
No, I mean that he's going to talk about it right now.
He's the commander-in-chief. He's going to reserve the right to, command. Get yourself some punch.
Leo.
Mr. Leader.
The hill's going to go crazy.
For a refreshing change of pace.
I've assured a dozen members the White House wouldn't act without us.
Then you're all set. There's cheese over there. Hello.
Hi.
You know, I saw the dress that Abby's wearing tonight.
Yeah, I may need to get a room.
You know it's leaked.
No kidding. In the last 2 minutes, 3 people have reminded me what Jefferson said in his inaugural.
Peace, commerce, honest friendship with all nations, and entangling alliances with none.
Problem is that when he said it, your best chance of getting entangled with an ally was by rowboat.
Yeah.
Charlie's here.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Donnie's Motel?
Yes, sir.
They didn't have one in the House Library?
This is the one from the House Library.
Okay.
The Chief Justice will ask you to raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible.
What do I do then?
You raise your right hand and put your left hand on the Bible.
Mm-hmm. And will there be someone who tell me when it's time to do that?
You mock me?
I do. May I continue to?
Yes, sir.
Can we pull foreign policy up on the prompter?
144 on the prompter, please. It's going to take a second.
What's going on?
The Chief Justice wrote a dissenting opinion in C. Northern v. Arizona, saying that an association between asbestos and a higher risk of cancer in later life was insufficient to merit relief.
So what?
He... I don't know how to say this. He wrote it in a meter.
A meter?
He wrote a dissenting opinion in what I'm almost certain is trochaic tetrameter. Will?
It is.
Huh?
What are you talking about?
He starts in the 4th graph.
Fear of cancer from asbestos, fuzzy science manifestos.
A guy just faxed this to Will.
Which one's Will?
He is. It's a loud syllable followed by a soft syllable, which is a trochaic foot. And there's 4 per comma, which is tetrameter.
You think he's trying to tell us something through code?
144 is on the prompter.
America cannot be the world's policeman. America cannot enforce its own values, its own standards across the world. Yet when it's in our clear and vital interest, we're being candid, at least.
This is State Department language.
No kidding. Look, I understand I present a uniform gap, but I want to mean what I say.
Will, you're going to meet with my counterpart, the State Department Communications Director. He likes to have input into foreign policy language.
Isn't he going to be insulted that he's meeting with someone he's never heard of who isn't a White House staffer?
I would really think so.
That's all. Thank you.
At the exact moment of the equinox. At the exact moment of the equinox.
Doesn't work.
It does work. It has to be the exact moment of the equinox.
Doesn't work.
I've seen it.
I tried it.
And?
Doesn't work.
I don't think you did it at the exact moment.
I did.
When?
Last September.
That was the autumnal equinox.
It only works for the vernal equinox?
Yeah.
You know what's more likely?
That it doesn't work at all?
That's right.
It does. I've seen it.
We've got pastrami from Krupin's. It's tissue paper thin. Roast beef, corned beef, turkey, Russian dressing, coleslaw, and seedless rye. And winning the hard-earned money of your coworkers. This is what I call a night off. Squeeze this piece of rye bread.
Now what do I do?
Excuse me, Leo.
Yeah.
Something that's true at the vernal equinox would have to also be true at the autumnal equinox.
Why?
Equinox means equal night. Night and day are both 12 hours long.
What does that have to do with it?
It doesn't work. I tried it.
Listen, there's a guy.
Hang on. CJ believes that at the exact moment of the vernal equinox,
And only at that moment.
you can stand an egg vertically. Huh? At the equinox, you can stand an egg on its end.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
You tried it?
I don't need to try it. You can't stand an egg on its end. And the elements involved with creating an equinox have no connection to the center of gravity of an egg.
I've seen it.
Well, I've seen guys make the ace of spades jump out of their shoes. I don't think it was the equinox.
Josh,
Yep.
counsel's office wants to know if you can meet with a candidate for the associate's position tonight.
Tonight?
I explained it was your night off, but they said he's in town just the one night, and...
Yeah.
So can I take your seat when you're not playing?
I'm Miss Ainsley. That's who the counsel's office should get to fill that position. Another Ainsley, a sexy conservative with first-rate law credentials and a strange name.
So can I take your seat?
Who else is playing this game? Anyone with currency.
Let me in the game, sir, I beg of you.
Why are you so eager to get in this game?
I enjoy poker, Mr. President, and your card skills are well known around the building, and frankly, I wanted to learn.
Seriously.
I enjoy poker.
This is a cash game, Debbie. These are hardworking people blowing off some steam and taking each other off their coin. We don't play for matchsticks, and we don't play for... Okay, can I ask you something? I forgot to have Charlie draw cash for me. Could you float me a little?
I can play.
Sir?
Leo, CJ swears that on the equinox, which is today, you can stand an egg on end.
Debbie?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, you can play.
Thank you, sir.
We just lost an unmanned spy plane.
Where?
It was a Predator B UAV 12 miles off Kaliningrad. It's controlled by satellite, which can't always adjust to sudden weather changes, and this one veered off course and crashed inland.
Well, that's why these are unmanned, right? All we lost was money? Aren't they saying detonate the plane?
The plane was taking pictures of illegal nuclear transfers in the region, and we need the intelligence because I don't think we're going to get it again.
Well, what do they want me to do? Call Shagarin and ask if we can go in and get our spy plane back?
Yes, sir. Except you can't say spy plane.
Wait, you're serious? They want me to call Shagarin?
Yes.
And ask him for the plane back without telling him we were spying?
State and the Pentagon have some ideas on how you might try that.
Do they?
In the meantime, sir, you want to play some cards?
Hang on.
Sit down and play poker. I'm dealing.
Excuse me, Josh.
Yeah.
The guy's in the Roosevelt room.
Which guy is this?
For the associate counsel, John.
Deal me out for 3 hands.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This guy?
Yeah?
There are some who would consider him handsome. I don't personally, because you're the only one I think is handsome.
Uh-huh.
But for the sake of appearances, here around the office, so that people wouldn't suspect, I'd pretend I thought this guy was handsome if you hired him. Of course, all along it'd be a lie, because of how handsome you are. And powerful.
Your sense of humor is a bit of a high wire act, isn't it? You're really trying to thread the needle.
And half of it you don't even get.
Hector?
Excuse me?
Are you Hector?
No, I'm Joe Quincy.
Sorry.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Are you saying it's Hector who's good looking, or is
This guy.
Okay.
But not really, because it's only you that I thought.
Yeah.
CJ, you Stu Winkle on 1.
Stu, this is CJ Craig at the White House. Stu?
Oh, my God, it's really you, isn't it?
It is. And I saw you have a new column, and I think it's terrific. And everyone here at the White House wishes you a lot of luck.
You are the classiest thing for calling me.
Well,
You are the classiest thing. You're my hero, CJ. Your brilliance and your sense of humor and your clothes.
thank you.
The evening gowns, who makes them for you? Do not tell me you buy off the rack, I'll kill you.
Well, I'm a girl on a budget.
Oh, don't try that on me.
No, really.
Oh, yeah, like the party at the Japanese embassy. You were wearing a dress from Saks.
Stu, I wanted to get you a direct answer to that NASA commission question that Ralph Gish and Katie brought me this morning. It was the Defense Department and not the White House who classified the report. Stu?
Well, that makes perfect sense. I didn't mind. It sounded crazy enough, but what do I know? So you gotta run these things down. Oh, you know, I know you have all the free time in the world, but it would be great if we could get together for a quick coffee one day, and I'll tell you why. You may find this hard to believe, but before I got into this lighter stuff, I was a serious journalist. I don't mean boring serious, but you know, the more than the bold dame celebrity fluff. The embarrassing thing is I was so green, I spent thousands of dollars getting a J school sheepskin from Colombia. Of course, that and the MetroCard will get you right on the subway, right? And then after that, I spent 2 years getting people coffee at Town and Country before I realized I was better off getting real-life experiences in the trenches. So I freelanced my butt off. I wrote about AIDS orphans, Mississippi flood victims, a series on homeless teenagers, race riots at rural colleges in the Midwest, and I felt good about myself. But you know what? That stuff pays the same amount per word as if I sat down with Angela Movie Star for an hour and just let the tape recorder transcribe her blathering about her latest boyfriend and what the rest of her new role is. But somebody else is the Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation nursing home scandal. I need to maximize the amount I can make per hour. But now that I've been doing this for, I don't know, was it 10 years already? I really want to use this position as opposed to get my toes back into real deep water, you know.
Stu, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Well, I cannot tell you how glad.
Carol?
Yeah.
I need to see Josh and Toby, and Joe needs to see the Vice President.
I'm Charlie Young. What is your name?
It's Claire. It's Claire. It's Claire Hall.
Claire Huddle, Mr. President.
It turns out it has to go to the Secretary of State. There's a law. It's 3 U.S.C. 20. It goes to the Secretary of State, but we'll take care of it. Why did you take a cab?
My car wouldn't start.
I'm sorry?
My car wouldn't start.
You know what's in here. It's okay.